Welcome back to What's Up Award TV and What's Up Award the podcast. My name is Wardy Ward, and I'm one of the hosts of this educational self-help podcast with the purpose of highlighting the everyday heroes, much like yourself. Got to give a shout out to my biracial baker, known as Miss Tiki Talker. What's happening with you, homie?
Got to get it out. Nothing much. Nothing much cooking for a biracial baker. What's up with you, Ward?
I'm strange and getting stranger by the day. But that's not the important thing. The important thing is our motto on the show is everybody has a story to tell, but we just want to know what's yours. Our guest today certainly fits this criteria. This mystery Miss Westerner has caught our attention after coming across a post he gave on, I think it was Facebook, and I said, I definitely want to interview that guy and see what's going on with it. It was something about never giving up. I think he's probably been through some things, and he's going to tell us a little bit about that and much more coming up right now. So,
excuse me. Yeah. So we're going to give a shout out. We're both having issues, aren't we? We're both going to give a shout out to our host or our guest, Alan Smith. Welcome to our lab, Alan Smith.
Thank you.
Alan Smith, like Will Smith. Are you related to Will Smith?
I wish I was, but no.
Okay. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and get started. Give me the first question, Tiki. Let's jump into this.
Okay. So did you grow up in a two-parent household, Mr. Allen? And do you have a religious background?
I would say if you wasn't in church Thursdays and Sundays, you was not part of the family.
So interesting. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about yourself before we get started. Who is Alan Smith, first of all?
So Alan Smith, I was born in Gary, Indiana. The last child, I'm the youngest of 10 boys.
Wow.
Yeah, no girls. My mom was trying. She honestly was trying for a girl, still me. So I was born in Gary, got 9 older brothers. Interesting story, we lived in Gary on Buchanan Street, and at the time, the Jacksons lived next street over on Jackson Street. So
you knew them?
Well, I was too. I'm Janet's age. So
okay.
My older brothers went to school, West Side High School, with the Jacksons, and my dad actually worked at the steel mill with Joe. So that's an interesting thing. They were at the time, no one knew they were going to be famous. They were just the Jacksons, like everybody else. So.
Right. Yeah. Oh no. So did you have a little house like theirs, or was yours bigger? Or
our house was smaller. It was smaller than theirs. I think they had a 3-bedroom house. I think we had 2. So we had multiple bunk beds in each room. Okay. So we didn't buy them. One of my older brothers, actually, him and my dad built these 3 bunk beds. And so we had 3 bunk beds and a bed in each room. So that was our household.
Jeez. So you probably never were you the youngest, right?
I'm the youngest, yes.
Did you ever get any new clothes?
No. Never. No, okay. It was called hand-me-downs.
Man. So same mother, same father for all 10 of y'all?
All 10. Yes, sir.
I've never seen that many boys in one family.
I know.
Yeah.
What was that like? What was that like with that many boys? I imagine there's lots of
fights,
patching the walls and things like that.
There was some
rowdiness.
There was some heated fights, especially my older brothers as they got to be teenagers. The testosterone started to build up, and you would have those duke outs, and my mom and dad would just let us be. If something got out of hand, they'd step in. But they let us be boys, and we were boys. Now, most of the time, it was good. It was good. Christmas was great because we would play Cowboys and Indians between the 6 of us, and 6 or 7 of us. We played. We had our own group. We would play baseball and basketball. We had our own team. Yeah,
obviously, yeah.
Man. It was great. Good. It was good.
What are your brothers' names?
You put me on the spot. So I'll start at the oldest. He's passed away now. So let's see. Let's go through them. There's Frank, Fred, Floyd, James, Mike, David, Dennis, Steve, Eric, and me.
Okay.
Wow.
Had to make sure you know them. Who was your favorite?
Ooh, you really put me on the spot. Um, I'm I'm gonna say my favorite is probably Fred. He lives in Kokomo.
Okay.
Um, and the reason why he's my favorite because he was the one who came and rescued me from the older ones. He would stop the terrorization of me as the youngest by some of
Mm,
my older brothers because they would terrorize me. They would bury me in the sand up
mm,
to my neck. They would put chairs over my body and drip water off my forehead. So he would come and
Jeez.
rescue me from some of the
mm,
terrorization of my older brothers. Also, we were pretty poor, and I remember when he moved out and started working. My dad was sick, and one year we didn't have money. They didn't have money for Christmas, and he
Mhm.
literally took two of his checks and bought us Christmas, the younger ones. So yeah, Fred's probably my favorite. It's probably my favorite.
Okay.
mm.
Yeah.
That's my guy.
What's the age difference? Is he close in age
Uh,
to you or?
he is 2 years younger than my oldest brother. So he's going to be 74 this year.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
all right.
Yeah.
Still kicking though. He's still kicking.
That's what's
Yeah.
up. Let's keep doing. Now, with you being the youngest, did you ever try to sing since you was cool with the Jacksons? And did you ever think maybe I should try to do something, or did you
Um,
have a hidden talent?
that I play guitar.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I
Okay.
uh, I like the blues. I do pretty good. I would say I'm intermediate. A guitarist. You won't catch me on a stage, but I play on Facebook and TikTok. So,
Okay.
I got a little audience there, but I like pretty much the blues. I'm trying to pick up a little bit of like rock or, just to add to what I play because I play
Right.
blues all the time,
That's-
BB King,
yeah.
Albert King, stuff like that. But I like to play the blues. Now, I will say that a lot of my brothers were pretty musically talented as well, which is kind of funny because one of my brothers plays the bass, one plays the drums, I play the guitar, I play the piano. Um, we probably could have been as famous, but
Wow.
luck of the draw. I think it's just the luck of the draw. They were discovered and we were not.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite childhood memory? Because since you grew up poor, I know a lot of times people who don't have a lot of money seem to have almost like they have more fun or better times. So do you have a
They
favorite
learn to
memory?
We
entertain themselves. Yeah.
You
we
have
we
to.
did. We didn't have bikes, so we rode tires down the street in Gary.
Okay.
That was
Okay.
a a very strange memory I had of not having to be able to afford a bike, but we would find these old tires and we decorate the tires, the outside, and we would decorate them and like with different paint and we would roll tires down the street and it was like the funnest thing ever. And I look
Yeah.
back now and I go, wow, we were rolling tires around when everybody else had bikes, but we would roll our tires around, we would roll them to the store and leave them outside and go in and buy something to drink maybe.
It's like a
Um,
real vehicle.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
like we thought these were like our vehicles or something, but we were literally rolling tires around. But
Yeah.
probably my best childhood memory was one Christmas. I was 6 or 7, and it was pretty bleak that year. We knew we weren't going to get a lot of stuff for Christmas. Usually it was apples, oranges, and some candy and nuts on the table, and my mom would make
Okay.
whatever food she had. But my brothers, the older ones, decided they were going to wake me up one morning and they go, "Hey, look out the window! Look out the window! It's snowing. I'm looking out the window. Way in the distance, I can see this red light going, and this bell is ringing. They're like, Santa's coming! Santa's coming! You better go back to sleep." Well, years later, I found out that it was my brothers. One of them was out in the field ringing the bell, and the other one had a little bike, and they were
Yeah.
running through the snow just to give me, something that looked like Christmas. That
Trying
that
to
was
make it
that was all.
authentic for
Beautiful.
you, huh?
That was all.
Okay. I see what's
Yeah.
on here. I
Yeah.
just want to say, if you rolling that tire down the street, that was definitely a good year.
You
Oh my
got
God. See, and I
it.
had
That
one, I had one was like, show me your wheels. That's what the guys do. Show me your wheels. You're like, you really got some wheels.
Got
Yeah,
some
that's
will.
my tire. You tied the tire, okay.
But like you said, it
So,
was good. Yeah.
so as far as school, you said you went to what school was that? You said again? High school?
Well, my brothers went to West Side High School.
Yeah.
I went to, it would have been Ernie Powell in Gary, um, up until I was in the second grade, and then we moved from Gary to Michigan City, I believe
Okay.
in '82. So then I went to a private school, which is,
Oh,
yeah, I went to a private school in Chesterton. I was the only one still in school at that time. All of my other brothers had dropped out, and my mom was like, "If you're going to be the only one to graduate from high school if you don't go to this school." So I kind of went there in order to try to stay in school because things got bad in that area, and you would drop
right.
out at 10th, 11th grade. So I kind of went from my mom. I stayed there, graduated from a private academy. Wasn't the easiest because they didn't want me there. I was the only black
Mm.
person at that school. So
And ask with the racial diversity, if it was racially diverse. So no.
yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
So
stuck in
how
there.
far? Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
So you said you're stuck in there. How far did you go with your education? Did you go to college too,
Uh,
or did you?
I graduated from that school, and then I went and enrolled into Purdue University.
Okay.
Got my bachelor's degree in business.
Okay. Yeah. Now I bet that was interesting because we're the same age, and when we went to school, they weren't really using computers at that time.
No,
So
no.
so wasn't that
You
it was a
remember
crazy.
Windows DOS?
It's just so
Windows
bad.
DOS.
Yeah. Yeah. I went to IU. You know that whole IU Purdue thing. I went down there,
Right. Yeah.
and my parents gave me a huge word processor and sent me
Yeah.
off. I was like, kids just don't know the power of the little
They have no
iPhone
idea.
now. Man,
They have no idea.
yeah,
You powered up the Windows DOS, and the little three dots came in, and you had to type in some stuff to get the computer going. Yeah, I remember those
yeah,
days.
it was a wonderful time. And so to be in, working now, we pretty much had to teach ourselves that stuff. So that's amazing. I think we were
Yeah.
probably the last generation that probably had two different keys for a car door too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I still
Tiki,
have
you don't
two.
know. Oh, you got a car like that?
I have a '77 Thunderbird that has two keys.
Ooh, that's a classic right there, boy.
Yeah, that's my boat
Mm,
right
yeah.
there.
Okay. Tiki, you don't know about that since you're 28.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Okay.
stretching the truth a little bit, Alan. Not much, but just a little.
Okay.
It's a woman's prerogative.
Right, right. Okay. So now I understand that you have a career in the insurance industry, or are you doing something else?
I am a manager at Walgreens,
Okay.
and my side hustle is actually life insurance and health insurance.
Okay. Yeah.
How did you
I
get
I,
into
I
that field? Oh, I'm
like that
sorry,
field.
Borg. Go ahead.
No. I was going to ask that too. I said I like that field because I got that
Yeah,
license too. But go ahead.
Well, I'll
yeah.
tell
I'm
you.
curious how I
Uh,
got in.
Basically, my dad in 2000, died suddenly,
Oh, I'm
and
sorry about
there was no life insurance. And of course, like a lot of people, you got to do a GoMe fund. It was fortunate for the family that I had a good job. I was at KB Toys. I don't know, you probably don't remember that one, but I was at KB Toys. I'd been there for 7 to 8 years, so I had a pretty decent 401. So I was able to borrow from my
Mm,
401 and bury my dad. And then
that.
one of my other brothers died a couple years later suddenly. Same thing. And I
Oh
was like,
man.
mm,
what's going on? I had life insurance at work. I'm like, why don't anyone have life insurance? So I started doing some research, and I talked to a guy that worked at a place, and I was trying to get all my brothers covered. And he goes, you should come work for us. You have a really
Mm.
good story. And I was like, well, what do you do? He goes, well, all you got to do is take the insurance license, which is very hard, by the way.
Oh
And
my
he's
gosh.
like,
Yes.
we can teach you how to sell. And from there, I got my insurance license, and I went to a couple of seminars, and I've been selling since.
Hmm.
mm.
Yeah, that
Were
test
you
is.
able to convince the rest of the family, of the importance of having it?
Yeah,
Some of them, some people just don't see the tangible need for insurance because you can't put your finger on it. It's not there until you
Mm,
need it. So I've been able to
right.
sell to some of them, but not all of them.
Mm.
Family and friends are very tough to sell to.
Boy, he's preaching to the choir now. So, how many times did it take you to pass that test? I failed it twice.
Twice,
Yeah,
and
that's
that
just
is the
going
third
number.
time.
Yep,
Yeah,
exactly. That's what I did too. When I went in the third time, I was like, if this make it or break it. If I don't do it, I'm doing something else. So,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I don't even use the license. I just wanted to do it. So
Right.
you have life and accident or life and health. Is that
I
what you
have
got?
life accident. I have life accident health and also long term insurance, LTC.
Also, you just trying to get them all. Look at you. Okay. Yeah. That's
I'm
good. So
curious,
you
is
do.
there a limit? Are you allowed, are you able to fail so many times? Or they just let you keep taking the test until
Oh,
you pass, or?
they let you keep taking the test because it costs you,
Yeah.
a pretty decent amount to take the test. So they don't care as long as you can pass it. You can take it as many times as you can until you
Yeah.
pass it.
Yeah. It's like the
Okay,
bar exam. I
okay,
know a lot of people took the bar exam 10, 12 times. They don't care. They
Right.
keep giving you the money.
okay. Hmm.
Man,
Yeah.
that's
Oh, that's
amazing.
interesting.
Now, did you sell for somebody else you there, or are you just doing it for yourself as an independent contractor?
Well, currently I am an independent broker, but
Okay.
I used to actually be a captive. You probably know captive agents. I sold for Western Southern it was a regional company out of Ohio for about a
Oh,
couple
okay.
years. And I went to Dignity Memorial. They're the largest funeral insurance company in North America. And then I decided to go I wanted to be a private broker because in sales, insurance sales or sales in general, the pressure to sell is there. And sometimes what they pressure you to sell, you're not selling for the customer, you're selling to make commission. I didn't like that. So now
Mhm,
I'm independent. So I feel as if I sell when I want. I'm not under
Hmm.
pressure to sell something every day.
Yes, I agree with that 1000%.
Yeah,
So
would you
yeah,
recommend this career to other people? You think
absolutely.
you'll finish this is a lifetime career for you?
Oh, absolutely. And now,
Yeah.
like I said, I do it part time and I do it on my own. But just the need and to get hoodie, the need in the hood is just crazy. And so many people don't have any life insurance.
Mm,
You see GoFundMe, the chicken, the church is trying to fry chicken to raise money to bury
mhm,
someone. To me, that's just
right.
like ridiculous.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. It's unfortunate it's like that, but like you said, people just don't see the value of it. I guess until the reality of it makes you a
Yeah.
reactive person instead of a proactive.
And you
mhm,
don't
So,
want to be on the other side
mhm.
because I worked at it. Dignity Memorial was more of a funeral insurance place, and I worked in what you call post need. So pre need was you try to get them to get the insurance before something happens. So I
mhm,
kind of did both, but there's nothing worse than having someone come into that funeral home and they've lost a loved one and the family they have no money, they have no life insurance. That's a very difficult conversation.
yes, yeah. I don't know why it costs so much to bury somebody. Because really, I think the embalming may be the biggest cost there because you don't have to embalm them technically.
No, no, you don't. And what people don't know is that there's a lot of different options for insurance. I would sell insurance plans $1,500, $2,000, and you get a nice casket, a decent service, and you can pay for it monthly for two
Mm-hmm.
years and then it's paid off and you're done. But people just
For
don't
two
know.
years or three? Two or
Two.
three? Two?
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. There's
Wow.
options.
So what happens if you miss a payment on the funeral?
Well, like anything else, I mean, with insurance though, there's some safeguards. So if you miss a payment, they can't exactly they you have time. So 4 months into if you let it lapse, you still can catch up your payments and still be
Right.
still have
Right,
your
yeah.
insurance if something happened to you. But
Mhm.
if you're lapsed and something happens to you, they only have to pay out what you actually put into it. They don't have to pay, let's say it's $10,000. They don't have to pay the $10,000. They only have to pay what you've actually put into it
Mhm.
up
Yeah,
until that point. So yeah, there's some
yeah.
safeguards, but I would say don't lapse on it. Just keep it in force, just like
Mhm.
any other
Mhm.
insurance. Any other
Right,
insurance,
Mhm.
you have to have it. Think of life insurance as the same thing.
yeah. Now,
Definitely.
I'm not good because I don't even use my license. I haven't used it in years. But do you know the difference in which one you should get? Is it term life or whole life? Which one is the better one? Do you know that by any chance?
Well, I would say it depends on you and what you want. Term insurance is just that. Is a term insurance. I recommend that to people who have and I would recommend a declining term because a term insurance policy only lasts for a certain set of time. So let's say you have
Okay.
a mortgage, it's $500,000. I say, well, get a
Oh,
$500,000 term insurance policy that declines over the life of the mortgage. So as the mortgage goes down, the amount of the insurance goes down. And so in that 20, 30 years, at the end of that, is gone. So you don't need to have that mortgage protection. So if something happens to you, it replaces that income, it takes care of the house, for whole life insurance is for, like the name implies, it's for the whole life of your life. So if you
okay.
get a $50,000 whole life insurance policy, it's going to last your whole life. It'll pay out that $50,000 plus whatever cash value that it pays on the percentage. I
Mm,
usually recommend that if you're a young family starting out and getting a house, get a whole life policy with a term rider for the mortgage.
mm, okay.
Yeah,
That makes sense. Okay.
yeah.
Um, you had a question for him, Tiki, because I was going to switch
Yeah,
subjects.
no,
Yes,
I
I
was
know.
just saying all these insurance agents here, but my dad sold insurance for a while too when I was younger. He kind of dabbled in that too. But I
Mhm.
mean, I know insurance agents, they used to go door to door, didn't they? It's kind of selling. They don't do that now, dude. Going door to sell insurance. What do you do now to
you
get your clients or?
Yeah, you won't find insurance agents back in the day in the 70s, even they would come around to our neighborhood. They were called debit agents. So basically they would sell $1,000, $2,000 worth of insurance and they would literally
Mhm.
come around. They used to go around every month and collect that. They were called debit insurance.
Okay.
You won't
Okay.
find that
All right.
anymore. I do a lot of Facebook ads and I buy my own leads. There's lead companies that you can actually go to and buy your own leads. Basically what they are is they send out mass amounts of flyers or they do mass emails to people. And if someone's interested in that insurance, they'll write into that lead company and say, hey, I'm interested in term insurance, life insurance, an IUL, an annuity, or whatever it might be. And then they sell bulks of those leads to you. So you could buy maybe $1,000 worth. You might get 50
Mhm.
leads from that. And from that 50 leads, you may get, in front of maybe 2 or 3 people, sell a couple. They're not cheap.
Oh,
Leads
okay.
aren't cheap. They're pretty expensive.
Sounds like, gee.
Oh, wow. Okay. Is
Um,
that how you did yours, Ford? Is that is that how you sold
well,
yours?
I worked for, I just worked for United Healthcare for a while, and then I worked for MDYs for a while. So I just kind of was doing stuff with them. So I really don't want to go out on my own. But Farmers Bureau reached out to me about 6 months ago because they know my license is still active and they wanted to give me my own insurance agency. And they were saying, well, you're gonna have
Oh,
to go door to door and build up they said they would front me the cash and the
So they
building. And
still did.
yeah, they said,
oh,
well,
wow.
that's what they were saying. I wasn't gonna do it, but I was like, good enough. But I
Yeah.
want to pivot and ask you this question, Al.
Sure.
Why stay in Indiana? Do you like snow that much?
I hate it. I hate it.
Especially up north, man, because y'all get a full winter up there, boy.
Oh, the lake effect here is fierce.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
fierce. But I'll tell you the reason is my wife's mom still lives here. She's in bad health. I told her, I said, I can't promise you that, if the day ever comes and your mom's not here, I'm gonna stay here because these winters are rough.
Man, I'll tell you, boy, because I got a barber's license too, and I got it up in Gary. Remember Lavelle's barbershop?
I
And
do.
yeah, back in the days, the one thing I got, Mr. Lavelle was there at I think it's 1700 Broadway Street, and
Yeah, you
yeah,
got your license from there, huh?
yeah, still active. I still keep it active these days because I used to live in South Bend. I would drive from
Right.
South Bend, leave at 6 in the morning, get there at 7 o'clock, cut here from 8 to 2, drive back to South Bend, get back by 3:30. I worked at the South Bend Medical Foundation as a toxicologist from 3 to 11:30. So I did that for a
Wow.
year and a half to get the license. So I just been, just doing everything, just trying to. Once you be broke, you decide I'm not gonna be broke again. So any
Right.
license, any opportunity, I was taking advantage of it. So
Exactly.
yeah, like I said, I don't think nothing I've done was harder than that insurance test was.
That insurance test was it was whew. I still have to get I got to get my continuing credits done before November
Okay.
for everything. Just haven't been
Yeah.
able to do it. Got to sit down and get that done.
Yeah, it's a place I go to keep mine renewed down here. Was no tests, no exams. You sit online or come in class for a week, and they give you 28 credits for like $139 every other year. I go in there and get it done. So I
Oh,
really
I'm gonna
really
have to
like
look
that.
that up.
Yeah, yeah, I'll get you that
Mm.
information. So
Mm.
you mentioned you're married. How long have you been married?
Been married for almost 20 years now.
Oh, you're a
Oh,
veteran in the game.
congratulations. Well done.
Yeah, you're a vet. He can tell us some
Yeah.
stuff. What's the secret?
What's the secret?
Yeah.
Um, talk. To be real, talk everything out. No, we're just like any other couple. We have our fights, throw down fights, arguments. I don't mean physical fights, but we have our arguments. But we talk it out. It's like, okay, I'm gonna listen to your point of view, listen to my point of view, and maybe we could meet in the middle. Every once in a while, we have to say, hey, I agree. I'm gonna have to agree to disagree, and we leave it
Right.
at that. You work
Yeah.
through it. You work through it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
a
Tiki and I
question.
was
So
just talking. We was
is
talking about that too. Remember that? I just want to say that real quick. We were talking about when it came to communication, how it's the lifeblood of a relationship. And I was saying, have you ever noticed that sometimes a woman can say something to like a guy like, you never do this or you always do that. And then the guy will focus in on, no, that's not true. I did this yesterday, but she's not really saying that.
so
And you just make an example like I'm just trying to demonstrative purpose let you see that I'm feeling this way. And a guy has to almost be a mind reader sometimes and say, okay, she's not saying every time, but she's not meaning that, but she said that. So let me do. I was like, I like what you
is
said
this
about
your
having to work it
experience,
out.
Alan? Is that your experience? Do you have to interpret what your wife is trying to say to you?
Sometimes,
Do you pretty?
some,
Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes I go, okay, well, I don't think she meant that. Let me ask, so
See,
what do you mean? What I need
right.
to know, okay, what do you, can you specify exactly what you're talking about?
That clarification. You got to do it because see, he's being wise and avoiding a future fight because
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Yeah.
Go ahead with your question, Tiki. I'm sorry. What was you gonna ask me?
Oh, I'm curious about what was I gonna ask? Oh, do you have children of your own? I don't know if we have
No,
do you have children?
actually, I don't. The two kids we have, boy, girl, they were 2 and 4 when I met her. So they're my kids, but they're not
Yeah,
my kids.
yeah,
But I'm
Mhm.
dad. Their
That's
dads
yeah,
are
good.
who knows where. But
Yeah,
I'm dad.
yeah, that's
yeah,
good. Yeah. After all that, and plus you got in at a good age and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah,
they know you. That's good.
yeah.
yeah.
That's a good question, Tiki. Now I want to get to that comment that made me want to interview you. You had
Okay.
mentioned something about never giving up, and was it because of the insurance issue with your family? Is that what you were referring to? You said never giving up, and you had been through some things. Is that what you're referring to?
Oh no. It was I lost my eye. You
Oh,
probably can tell this eye is different.
no, I didn't even
Um,
notice.
No,
yeah,
I did
well,
not contest that.
it's been a year and a half. It's done a lot of healing.
Oh, that's fresh.
But I lost my eye. Was it the end of 2021 started. I started having some vision problems in the eye, and
Mhm.
they told me years ago that I had really, really bad retinas. This eye has some issues too, but they had told me, just watch out. But when you're young and you're in teenagers and you're in your 20s, you don't really think about that stuff. But as you get older, of course, your retina gets older. And so at the end of it was actually Thanksgiving morning of 2021, I woke up, I went to the store, I was getting ready to cook dinner, Thanksgiving dinner, because I do all the cooking. And
Okay.
I noticed I had some spots in my peripheral vision. And I was like,
Mhm.
well, that's odd. Okay, but I'm busy. I'm like, okay, I got to get to it. So as the week progressed, I could see this black spot in my peripheral vision. I'm like, well, I better get in and see what's going on with that. So I get into the dentist, I mean the doctor's office, and they're like, yeah, you got a retina detachment going on. We need to get you into
Ooh,
surgery
Mhm.
ASAP.
yeah.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh boy. So it was November. They's like, well, we got to get you into surgery right away. We're going to put in a they call it an optical ring, and it
Mhm.
was a gas bubble. And they're like, we got to get you into surgery. The problem was, it was November, it was COVID. I needed to take a physical, blood workup, couldn't get any of that done. So
Dang.
Mhm.
literally, the spot is moving as the weeks go progress. So it's almost like I had something partially over my eye,
Oh,
and I can
Mhm.
only see under it.
mhm.
So it's January. Finally, I get all I get the physical done. I get the blood work up, the EKG. They tell me you're good. Get the surgery. Let's go. I call the office, the eye doctor office. It was the retina specialist. I'm like, okay, I'm good to
Mhm.
go. Got all the tests back. I'm good. Let's go. And they're like, okay, cool. Present my insurance, and they say to me, well, your insurance is a new year, and so you have a high deductible, not based
Yeah.
on last year. We're gonna need six
Dang.
thousand dollars
Oh,
up front before we can do the surgery.
oh,
So at that point, I'm
goodness.
like, well, I only got a couple $1,000s in the bank. You guys take a couple thousand? No, we gotta have, we gotta have ours for the retina surgery. We gotta have it for the hospital. So I had to come up with like 3 grand in like a week. So went and
Mm,
sold a bunch of stuff and got into the surgery. Did the surgery. Long story short, the surgery they thought was going to be successful, but at that point when I had the surgery, I was already at 50% loss in the eye. So she's like, well,
oh
now we're at
man.
like 50-50. So we did the surgery, and turns out that it had detached again. So he went in and did another surgery, and it just, after so many surgeries, they were like, well, we just don't think we can do anything with that eye. So
Mhm.
went through some things, but made me stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't stop.
Yeah.
I just don't stop. I keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got
How
to,
how
huh? This is what else you do.
yeah. How is it adjusting to the one eye? That do you are you
Mhm.
how does that work? Are you kind of spinning more around or
You'll find yourself um, looking around, like, because when I drive, of course, I got to look. You look anyway, but I look way more than I used to, having to look
hmm
around because the eye's just not there. The problem with
yeah.
this eye is that the optical nerve is still there. So I
Okay.
see, like right now, the light. I can see flashes of light coming from it. I can't see any movement, but light's still there. So that's why I wear the patch. Sometimes I wear the patch just to keep the light out my eye. It keeps
Okay.
this eye more focused. But
Yeah.
it just looks so weird.
Yeah, Justin, because if you hadn't told me, I would have never known. I would have
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
even known.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
what
I'm
is your
glad
It's
you I didn't
peripheral
know that.
vision like? Did you have to adjust with that, the peripheral or
oh,
depth? The depth, or if that's what it is, it affects that, right? The depth perception, not
absolutely.
the,
The depth perception
yeah,
is
too.
the depth perception at first was pretty horrible. Um, I had to, I went online and she told me where to go to do some depth perception things. As you're reaching for something. For instance, if I'm reaching for this candy bar, I have to kind of know, okay, I'm close to it. There it is. And in the
Mhm.
dark, it's
Yeah.
horrible. But
Yeah.
everything, your body is very adaptable. And you'll find that
You're
things
right.
you think you can't do, you actually can do it. You just have to work on
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
you're absolutely right. Yes. Wow, that's an amazing story. I knew it was something special about you. You have such a positive attitude about it. That's
He
infectious, and I really
does.
appreciate that.
He really
Uh,
does.
yeah. Now, I was wondering also. I know you, somewhat of a local hero. Were you on the news a couple times up there? Is that right?
Well, I wouldn't say local hero. I was on the news. It was it was I was actually an Uber driver in South Bend for like 5 years.
You've done
And
everything.
yeah,
Jeez.
bro, I still do everything. I still Uber and DoorDash. My daughter just graduated nursing school, so
Okay.
somebody got to pay for those bills.
Right. Yeah,
So
you're right.
so I was an Uber driver in South Bend, and back in like maybe 3 or 4 years ago, the money was pretty good. So I actually picked up one of the news guys, um, and took him to where he needed to go to, and he gave me his card, and he asked me if he could reach out to me because he was thinking about doing a story on Uber drivers, and so he reached out to
Hmm.
me a couple times. I was on the news a few times, just basically talking about the struggles of being, an Uber driver, and the gas prices going up like they had gone up. So,
Yeah.
you know, that was about the news story. I was featured on the news twice, so that's my
Okay.
notoriety.
That's where I knew you from.
Okay.
That's why I knew him from right there. I knew I seen it somewhere.
That's me.
Yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
How did
How,
that work
how much?
for the Uber drivers? How did that work for gas?
Yeah. How's it work for gas?
Yeah, how was that going during that time? I mean, you just pay for the gas out your pocket, and then I didn't know how it worked. Sorry, teacher.
Well, basically, I would fill up, and when the gas was like $2 and something a gallon, it was
Yeah.
pretty good because if South Bend, like Notre Dame, for instance, if they had a home football game,
Hmm.
I can clear $500-600 in a day.
Dang.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah,
Wow.
Okay.
it was that busy. So I didn't even think about the gas. It was like, okay, I'm about to clear about $400-500-600 in a weekend. On a
Mm.
Friday, I could do maybe 300 or 400, $500. On a Saturday, the day of the game, I clear another $400 or $500. So
That's
it was
crazy.
good money.
It's incredible.
Yeah,
Mm. How much you got to give Uber of that money?
they take theirs off the top. So I never really, you really have to go into the Uber app to find out, or ask. I would ask the passengers. They're like, okay, well, I'm taking you from South Bend to Elkhart, and I'm making $70 off of that. How much did they charge you? And they say, well,
Yeah.
like they're charging me like $110. So you could figure out
Oh,
what
oh,
Uber was taking based on
man.
what they paid versus what they paid you.
That's a
Okay.
But
pretty
Uber makes
cool
their money.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah, they
clearly,
get their
because
money.
it's like goodwill. They're just using you to get their. If it works, it works. I ain't mad at them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I ain't either.
Mm, mm, mm. So I'm curious, with as far as just being in Indiana, you've lived in Indiana your whole life, and you can't stand the snow. So do you travel a lot? Is that a means to get away from the weather, or are you
I
travelers?
do. I do. I just left hot Phoenix. I went down to see my
Oh,
buddy in Phoenix last month. Oh my goodness. It is hot down there.
mm,
And I left before it actually started to get hot. But I travel a lot. I just started back traveling though, because with the pressure of flying, she hadn't cleared me to fly until this year with this eye because the pressure. So I literally just started back traveling. But yeah, I love traveling. I love getting out of Indiana, especially in the wintertime.
yeah. Yeah, I
Right.
hear you. I've got a friend that lives out there, and she posted something on social media, and she's like, I think it was like 104 degrees or something like that, maybe 3 or 4 days ago. And I'm like, I don't think
Mhm.
I want to be there. I've never been to Arizona, but that's hot.
It's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. My friend always says, well, it's not humidity, it's dry heat.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
115 degrees is
Heat
still
is
hot.
heat. I
Yeah.
think the
Heat is,
oven is dry heat, right? I don't think
yeah,
the
the oven
oven
is
is
dry heat,
dry heat.
but you're not going to stick your head in there.
Yeah.
No,
I wouldn't
no. What
advise
about
it.
out of the country? Do you travel out of the country much?
I've been to probably, I'm going to say probably about 28 states. so far. I
Wow.
want to get to all of them eventually.
Okay,
You know,
you
it's
see
on my
it just in
bucket
the
list.
States. Okay,
It's on
Yeah.
my
all
bucket.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You've been to both
okay.
oceans?
Where's that?
Have you been to both oceans?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yep.
Yeah.
California and the Florida Keys,
Yep.
Jersey, North Carolina. Yeah, I love traveling. It's great. I like camping too. So
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
I like
I
camping.
like the oceans. When I went the first time and looked, I was just so amazed at how much water it is. It just stops right there at the shore. It's just like that's just amazing, man. I was like,
it is.
I
It
don't like
really
water
is.
like that. I don't. Do you do water sports? I won't do that.
Um, I'm gonna tell you that I'm an adrenaline junkie, so I do
Uh-oh.
crazy things. Uh, Parasailing, skiing,
Hmm.
water skiing, rock climbing.
Oh
Matter
my
of fact, I
goodness.
went rock climbing down in Sedona when I was down there.
Mm,
Hmm.
I'm a crazy person. I do crazy things.
mm. That's one of the things I
Wow.
was going to ask him if he's a risk taker. I'm a bit of a risk taker myself too. I've got some scars and from surgeries to prove that
Yeah.
too. But hey, live right.
You only live once. The only thing I haven't done yet is jump out of a plane, and that's this summer.
Oh my goodness.
Really?
He is a Smith. He is definitely a Smith. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
let us know how that goes. So, have you did the parachute thing before at all? You said parasailing,
Nope.
so
I did parasailing. I bungee jumped.
oh my
Did some
goodness,
rock
you
climbing.
bungee jump? Wait, go back to
Bungee
the
jumping
bungee
is
jump.
great. It
Yeah,
is great. It is. Just do
what'd
it
you do?
once.
No, no. What'd you do? Did you do it off a mountain? Did you do it off a
You
train,
said
or did
that
you do it off the
to the
bridge?
wrong person.
No.
Did it off. Actually, I did it in Vegas. They have a bungee jump there. Well, back, I don't know. This
Mm,
was in 2003, but they had a bungee jump in one of their hotels. I did it there. It's great.
What do you mean? Like they hanging over the side of the building?
They have a,
They,
a thing that goes off the side of the building, and you can bungee jump from there. Used to be. I don't know if it's
I
still
don't
open.
think I would do that. I wouldn't do the bungee jumping. I would do some other
Oh,
yeah,
come
see,
on.
safer.
Come on. Do it.
yeah.
You only live
When I
once.
want right, exactly. See, we saying the same thing. Definitely. I think when I want that type of excitement, I go to the bank and apply for a loan. Just sit out there and wait.
Or he goes to the
Definitely.
edge of his porch and just keeps trying to, I can do it. I can do it. Get to
Yeah,
the next
that's
step.
adrenaline.
That's his jumping. That's the extent of your jumping, right?
I can't do it. Here's my next question. I want to know what is Midwest Seven? I kept seeing that come across your page. I know what that was. Is that
Oh,
what is
okay.
that?
So Midwest 7 is when I was down for surgery, I had this idea in my head to write a book. And so I was like,
Okay.
okay, the third week, of course, I could sit up. The first couple weeks I had to lay down because of the eye and things. But the third week, the fourth week, I could sit up, and I'm like, well, I got a couple more weeks on my hand. I had to take off 6 weeks. So I was like, I'm gonna start putting pen to paper on this book idea I had. So I had an
Mm-hmm.
idea for a book, and basically the book was in my head. It was like, okay, living in the Midwest, and with the lake effect snow and the recent polar vortexes that we would get, be minus 20 degrees wind chill here. And I also know
Man.
that there is a
Mm-hmm.
fault line that runs through Indiana. And I was thinking years ago, like, what would happen if all of that happened at once? And so I was like,
Yeah.
I came up with some characters, and I have these characters in my head. This Willer, he's a widow, he has two kids, and all of this stuff happens all at once. There's an earthquake, there's lake effect, and it's 20 below zero, and that's what this book is based on. And Midwest 7 is basically the Midwest, and the 7 is the earthquake is on the 7 on the Richter scale. So that's what the book is
Oh.
about. Yeah.
Mm.
Wow.
Sounds like it's
Yeah,
gonna be
that
a good movie
sounds
too.
like a gripping tale. Yeah,
Yeah.
like Armageddon or some of those other like end of the world
Similar,
catastrophic world events. Yeah, they can make a movie out of
Well,
similar,
that.
yeah,
very
perfect
similar to
storm.
that. Yeah, similar to
Yeah.
that. And actually, I had put it on one of my Instagrams, and there was a guy. Supposedly, now I don't really know. I haven't really heard much, but he came across the book and he said that he was affiliated with Wesley Snipes, which is one of my favorite actors. And he goes, I
Mhm.
can picture Wesley Snipes being the main character in this movie, the way you describe how it started and how it ends, because it's a seven, it's in a series of seven, which I did on purpose. Um, this is the first book of the series. This is Act
Mm.
One. And he said, well, I'm gonna reach out to him and see, but I hadn't heard anything. So, I don't know if he was
Mm.
actually
Oh, hold it up again,
affiliated with
please.
Wesley Snipes or not.
It
Let's see
won't
the
show his
cover.
background. It won't show his
If you can, if
background.
it's,
Oh, it's not gonna probably
oh,
show.
There it
there we
is.
go. Now we can see it. Okay, if you bring it forward. Oh, yeah, that's nice. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
All right.
So that was the idea for the book. And it really wasn't about getting famous or making money. I just really wanted to be published. That
Mhm.
was it.
Mhm.
Just
Yeah. It
Mhm.
sounds like you're on to a winner right there because I'm very interested. I like that idea. It sounds,
Yeah.
yeah, get your own
Yeah.
twist on it. I would love to see what you can do with that. Don't give, what you would just say, never give up. Never give
never give
up.
up. I think I've sold like 10 copies so far.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey,
But
it may
Yeah.
take off. You just, there's sometimes that's unpredictable sometimes. You just kind of slow triple and
Yeah.
then take off.
yeah, I'm almost done writing Act Two, because I kind of left people in actually, someone wrote me and they were like, so when is Act Two coming out? Because I left a pretty good cliffhanger in Act One.
Mhm.
So I'm right now writing Act Two, and we'll see where it goes because it's
Mm.
fluid right now. So I'm like, I might change some things up just to throw people off, but it's going to be in a series of seven. It's on Amazon Kindle right
Okay.
now. So, well, we'll see how it
Man,
goes.
Yeah. It's kind of
man,
like a
he
comic book style. The way the comic books, they kind of leave cliffhangers with that, and then you got to
Yeah,
buy the
Mhm.
next comic book to find out. So
Right.
that's
That was smart. Yeah. Nice.
yeah.
yes, yeah.
All right.
I'm okay. I'm smart. I went to college.
All right. All right. We're going to move to the second part of this show before we wrap it up. And again,
Okay.
we're talking to Alan Smith. This is What's Up Aboard the podcast featuring Tiki Talker. This part, we're just going to ask you a few questions and you just tell us what the answers come to mind. You give us so much about you so far, but this to just a little deeper here. Now, plus, I got some
Yeah.
surprises I want to ask him too. I'm not sure what type of movies you like, but I got a couple to add.
Go for it.
First question is, what did you think this podcast was going to be like? Were you concerned or were you worried? Or what was your thoughts?
I was a little worried. I was a little worried because, I haven't done a podcast ever. I've never done anything like this before. And I want to make sure that I'm presentable and
Yeah.
understandable, relatable. I've
Mhm.
sold insurance and I door knocked for Comcast for 2 years, door to door. So I'm not really fearful of media, but I didn't know really what it was going to be about. So I'm like, oh no, we'll see.
Right. I know. Yeah. Yeah. You're very articulate. Tiki mentioned that you can
Mhm.
switch it up. You can go both ways. You can speak
Mhm.
in hood and you can speak it in the King.
you know, if you're from the hood like Gary, you have to always keep your card. So when you go back, you got to be able to
It said keep the car.
understand what they're saying. But they've
Right.
always my family always says I talk white, and I'm okay. It's
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah. Yeah. If I had talked to you on the phone, I would have thought people tell me all the time, like, you're black, right? They can tell me instantly. But yeah, but
Right.
there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, just how people are. Go ahead, Tiki.
So what do you like to do for fun, like normal fun, when you're not jumping off buildings and stuff like that,
Right.
just hanging around the house and stuff
Normal
like,
people
what's
fun.
your normal fun things to do?
What's my normal fun things to do? Literally, trying to finish up my book and my guitar.
Oh, okay.
Ah,
I think he went up Jackson. He worked on
oh, that's nice. That's nice.
it. Yes. You gonna
So
give
I
us a
do
sample?
you write songs? Do you write music? Do you write songs since you write?
Oh no. Oh
No,
no,
okay.
I'm not that musically inclined to write. I thought I came up with a couple of original uh some original tunes that I kind of like morphed off of maybe some BB King. Because when you play guitar, when you get into music theory, a lot of the
Yeah.
songs are based on they have a bass foundation. So you can take that base foundation and you can make it your own, make your own tunes. And if
Mhm.
no one knows, they won't know that you're using someone else's base formula,
Mhm.
but you are. You can use a bass, you know, a bass rhythm and make it your own and say, well, yeah, I came up with this unique sound. You really didn't. You're kind of using someone else's foundation, but I do that, but I can't
Yeah.
say I write music.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
I
I
wish.
want to tell me this. If you met yourself 10 years ago and you can go back, would you be friends with yourself? Why or why not?
If I met myself 10 years ago, would I be friends with me?
Hmm.
Hmm, that's a tough question. Probably. Probably.
Hmm. Why would you say so?
I would say if I found out who I was, I look for certain things in friendship. And if I met myself 10 years ago, I would look for those same things. Be like, okay, is he honest? Is he trustworthy? Is he loyal? All this certain things. But does he like to do things?
Yeah.
So I think I would
Mhm.
probably be a friend of myself. I think I would be.
Okay.
Mhm. All right. So I have a question. So at what age did you start to really understand, to know yourself and to understand what your purpose was in life? Was it like a window there at 50
Wow, I'm
to
gonna say
40 to 45 or an actual age?
35-ish on up. I mean,
Yeah.
35-ish and really not maybe until your 40s until okay, you got it together. You know
Yeah.
what you're doing. And if Ward understands, it's like until your 40s that you go, okay, I know who I am, I know what I
Hmm.
want, I know what I want to do, I know my destination. And before that, it was almost like you were wandering. Well, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that.
Right.
I
Yeah.
think I might do this, I might do that. When you hit your 40s, you're kind of like, okay, I know what I want, I know what I want to do, I know my
Mhm.
goals. You kind of settle down and you kind of know yourself. But before that, it's
Hmm.
kind of like blurry. It's kind of like you were all over. I was all over the place in my 30s
Yeah.
and my 20s.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm. Yeah. Let me ask you this. If we're in our 50s now, do you think when your parents were at this age, was it the same 50 or is it a different 50 with them?
Man, I'm gonna say it was a different 50. I'm gonna say it's a different 50 because my mom had me at 40. I think my mom was 39, my dad was 40. So in their 50s were, from my remembrance, their
Yeah.
50s are a lot different than my 50s.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Tiki.
So what do you think about, just everything you watch in the news? I'm not a huge news watcher. I get to watch the feed and Instagram or everything. I just, too negative. But what I do see is it's disturbing sometimes. So what do you think about world conditions, all the things that seem to be taking place in the world? How do you feel about it?
Well, speaking from a manager's point of view, having been in customer service in some form for the last 35 years, I just think the the overall treatment of employees is horrible. Just I'm gonna
Mm.
be honest, it's horrible, and I feel for the younger employees that can't even make it's a livable wage. And
Mm.
on the flip side, being in management, because I'm an inventory specialist at Walgreens, so I'm not really a manager. I don't do a lot of the money often. They'll have me help do that stuff. But I'm in
Yeah.
the inventory department. I see what it costs them for product. I
Yeah.
know what it costs for a product. So I
Mhm.
know that not only is they can afford to pay a livable wage, but I know they're also gouging the customer because I know what it costs them to actually make the item or sell the item versus what they actually get. And these companies
Yeah.
are just ridiculous, man. They're ridiculous.
Mhm.
They're
Yeah.
they're gouging us all. They're gouging
Oh
us all.
yeah. Oh yeah. I agree with that 150%. I used to sell eyeglasses, and what they do now, I know the markup is real out there. But
Yeah.
I want to pivot and ask this question as well too, since it's about war conditions. Have you ever dealt with racism before? Did you have anything like that happen to you, or were you kind of sheltered, being with so many brothers and sisters, and you kind of say to yourself, or
I was I cut my teeth on racism, man. Because I went to that private school. It was all white.
yeah,
Um, I've been called every N word in the name, and the thing is it was a religious academy, but
ooh,
you didn't you wouldn't know it by what they called me. Um,
mhm,
so having honed my teeth on that racism in that school from fourth grade till I graduated from there, and then of course you move out of the house. My first uh, racist incident. I don't know if you know where Schaumburg is at.
Illinois.
Is in yeah, yeah. So me and some friends were up there. It was me and two black guys and two white guys. We were in my 82 Buick LeSabre. We wanted to go to a club. So it was like, oh, I heard some clubs up in Schaumburg. So I just drive up there. We drive up there, we're driving around, we eat, and we're looking for the club. It's around 10, 11 o'clock. We're like, okay, let's find a club so we can go dance. And we just want to have a good time. We
Yeah.
get pulled over. I get pulled over by these cops. They literally they're like, what the F are you guys doing in our town? They pull us out
Hmm.
of the car. They're calling us names. They search
Hmm.
us. Um, just like search my car. Um, they let us go, but they're like, we're going to follow you out of town. We don't want to see you in our town anymore. And we're all like 22, 23. I'm scared to death thinking that they about to shoot us or whatever. We're out in the middle of nowhere. So that, I've had my incidents of driving while black.
Yeah,
Mm, that's
yeah, I believe all
traumatic,
black men have. Yeah,
very traumatic.
It
it's
was
unfortunate
traumatic.
what happens. Yeah, yeah, it's something that you never forget, And did you have to have that
Never
talk with
forget.
your young kids and tell them about be careful, this and that? Yeah.
Yeah. And the the worst part about it is that my white friends will never when I tell them, hey, I have to talk to my kids about, hey, when you get pulled over, put your hands on the steering wheel, act right. And they go, well, why would you have to have that conversation? They don't get it.
No, they
They
don't.
can't understand that of why you have to have that conversation. And
Hmm.
they probably never will. And to no fault of their own,
Right. Yeah.
they just they don't they go, why would you have to do that? It's necessary.
Very
Mhm.
necessary. It's unfortunate that
Unfortunate.
that still happens.
Yeah.
2023 is. I don't know if it's better or worse now because it seems like it's just getting filmed now. Because it's been going on. We remember Rodney King and all that stuff. It's this has been going on
Well,
for years and nothing's really changing. So
well, with country singers making songs like "Don't Try That in Our Town," is not helpful.
right, yeah, sundown towns and all that stuff. Yeah. Let
Definitely
me
not.
ask you. Here's my next question. Kanye West often speaks about those things, and people says he's crazy. Do you think Kanye is crazy, or is he onto something?
I don't think Kanye is crazy. I think his delivery is bad.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think his delivery is bad, but I think also the people who control the media also spin that narrative that it is, but I think he speaks from an emotional standpoint, and it doesn't
Yeah.
always come across that way, or at least the bits that they show. Because when you
Right.
really look at what he's saying something. I mean, you don't make $6 billion, even though he lost a lot of. You don't make $6 billion being an idiot. That's my
Right.
philosophy. Yeah. So okay.
Right.
Well, did you have one question, Tiki? Because I want something else I'm gonna ask after that.
Yeah, I was gonna ask him well, we know what genre of music you like. You like the blues.
Right.
What kind of stories you like, what kind of books, what kind of movies do you watch?
Ooh.
I am. Uh, I like science fiction and suspense, but I'm a Trekkie. I love Star Trek. I grew up on
Oh, I
it.
do too. Yeah.
Captain
Yeah.
Kirk.
Yeah. He
You
was a
know,
man.
Captain Kirk. Back in the day, Saturday was cartoons, and then it
Mhm.
was Lost in Space, and then at
Yeah,
night it was um, whatever creature feature was on that night.
yeah.
You know,
You
I
go
don't know if you
way
remember
back.
creature features. Oh, I
Yeah.
go way back, bro. And then Sunday
Wolfman
mornings,
Jack.
of course, Sunday mornings, uh, Golden Jubilee. You had to watch that before you went to church. So yeah,
Mhm.
science fiction and suspense. I'm more a science fiction guy myself. I love science
Okay.
fiction.
Yeah. Let me hit you with my classic question I asked everybody. You may not know about these movies, but I'm gonna ask you, which is a better movie? They Kill Cornbread or Coolie High?
Coolie High.
Okay. Yeah. Did that
You
movie
know,
kind of resonate with your life at all? Anything?
I when I watched that movie, I could picture my uncles and my older cousins going through those kinds of things that they went through.
That was
Coolie High.
real.
Of course, that song was at every funeral as a kid.
Right. Hard to say goodbye.
Yeah,
Is it Gaston? Yeah. Yeah, that's true, man. A lot that movie was so powerful to me when I watched it. I was like, man, I mean, it was probably one of the next to seeing Roots. That was
yeah,
that's just
yes.
it was not watered down in any way. It was,
In any way, it was raw,
man, love that stuff like
very
that. That's why um when you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up? I know you've done everything.
raw. I ain't done all I want to do, but I wanted to be. Kids would always say, "Oh, I want to be a fireman. I want to be a police officer. I want to
Mhm.
be, whatever it was, whatever it was." I think when I was a kid, I literally I wanted to be like in the community because
Yeah.
I would see those community organizers. You see
Hmm.
them on TV, and like I want to do that. I want to like be out with the people. I want to, hey, let's go. Let's get some stuff done.
Right.
I think I want to be like was I don't know what you would call that, social worker maybe, like
Hmm.
teacher, social worker, part
Mhm.
time, whatever that might be. But I want to be in the community, want to be part of the community, and help the community get better because my
Hmm.
community was falling apart. I would be out there. Hey, what can we do to get the community better? So I think I wanted to be like I would probably say a teacher, but I really didn't want to be a teacher. I wanted to be somewhere where I could help people like myself when I was growing up being poor.
Yeah. Some
That's
type
what
of
I want.
advocate. Yeah.
Some type of
So
advocate.
you mentioned to me when we spoke that you would love to have had your own podcast. So does that stem from that desire to help people, help the community?
Yeah, to help the community and get people, you know, just get people knowledgeable about finances,
Right.
insurance, uh, just understanding the market. I mean, when I was growing up, I remember my brothers because they went to a public school, but before they dropped out, they
Hmm.
had what do you call it, shop. They had home ec.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
where's all that stuff that kids get out? Oh, they know how to play the video game,
Oh
but
man.
they
Yeah.
Mm.
can't fill out a checkbook. They can't sew. I got a sewing machine in the house right now. I know how to sew. My mom made us boys do everything. We know how to sew. We know how to cook. We know how to fill
Hmm.
out a checkbook.
Right.
So I would like to do that kind of stuff. Like you got to get these kids now, man. You got to get them while they're young. Teach them some stuff because they don't know anything.
Man. Yeah. Yeah. Children are the future, and I'm very concerned. Um,
I'm very concerned.
did you ever get into any fights when you were younger,
Oh yeah.
other than your brothers? I mean, did other people have to fight you too? You had to
Oh,
fight like,
at the school
yeah,
I
you
went
did
to, absolutely.
at the Catholic school?
Hmm.
Dang.
Oh
It
no, you're
only
not gonna
takes
call
so
me that.
much, right? Only takes so
Oh,
many insults.
I can only take so many insults. And when I was
Mm.
in fourth, fifth grade, I was small. But I hit
Okay.
sixth, seventh grade at that school, and I went from probably 5'6" to maybe over a summer 5'6" to like 5'10", 5'11". Kind of
Mhm.
bulked up. When I went back, I was like, "We ain't having that. You ain't finna call me that N word, not today, because I'm gonna meet you at the playground at 3 o'clock." So yeah, I got in a few fights back then.
Okay. Yeah. I think we all have. Have you ever had a fear of public speaking? Because I know you're such a good speaker and great talker. Did you ever have a fear of public speaking?
I never did. I excelled in speech in high school and college. So I think mine comes from I'm just transparent. I think if you have a hard time public speaking, deep down you, you might be hiding something, or or what I should say, you're not speaking from the heart. I think if you
Mm,
speak from the heart, it comes natural, and you're not putting on a front. You're not putting
mhm.
on someone else that you aren't in private. If you just speak from the heart, and you might mess up and it might come out incorrectly, but in speech I learned, okay, you kind of write it down, you know what you want to say, and it'll come out naturally, but you'll keep your bullet points. With me,
Right.
when I'm like talking right now, I just talk off the cuff, and I don't have a
Mhm.
problem speaking in
Yeah,
front of anybody.
That's good. Yeah.
that's it. That's evident. So everybody has their love language. What is it that makes you feel appreciated and loved?
Mm,
Understanding my faults.
mm.
And I have a lot
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. I like that one.
of
Um,
them.
we are also going pivoting back to the public speaking. Studies have shown that people, if given a choice of giving a public talk or a speech somewhere or facing death, the majority of people will face death than
I've
to
heard that.
do public speaking. So, yes, it's not a gift for everybody. All right, you got another question for me, Tiki, before we wrap it up?
I think yes, I do. I want to know if if you had $1 million and you
Mhm.
had to give it away, who would you give it away to?
If
Or
I
would
had a
you donate
million
it?
dollars, who would I? Oh, that's easy. Um, the first, how much education and financial resources I could give. How many families could I give that to? So, say $1 million, could I give $100? 100 families, $1 million worth of not worried about life insurance, get their kids at least some annuities to get them started with college, not buying them houses or buying them cars, putting them on a financial highway to what I call generational wealth, because that's what we lack.
Oh
Mhm.
We
yeah.
don't have generational wealth at all to pass on to our kids. Now, my kids will have, because they'll get the house. Right now my house is worth like $300,000. They'll get something. I didn't get anything from my parents. They didn't have it. There's no generational wealth. So I want to start the cycle of generational wealth. And one of those ways is actually life insurance. If you
You're right.
you put $500,000 worth of life insurance on you, when you leave, your kids now have a leg up. They then can start that generational process that I won't mention races that other races have been doing for generations.
You're right.
Their Uncle Bob or their mom passed them on a house and $400,000 in annuities so they could pass that on. I want to start that generational path with other people. $1 million would do that. Could easily start that with not
Yeah,
everybody, but a lot of people I know. I can get them started on that generational wealth building role.
Yeah.
Definitely.
A,
I like
a
that.
friend of mine had said something about that. He said uh, a lot of times when these black men were getting killed by police officers, he said, you can stop all that if they just start getting life insurance policies, because insurance companies going to find out what really happened. Before they pay out, they're going to get to the bottom of it. And yeah, they
Go after
stopped
their
that.
life insurance policy.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. That changes the whole game. Do you think
Changes
that
everything.
African Americans, or the global majority, as I call them, do you think they deserve reparations?
I think, yeah, to be short, the short answer is yes, because we're so far behind because of the lack of being able to get land. I mean, what was it, 1812? The Homestead Act. They gave everybody
Mhm.
land. Do you know what that land did for building generational wealth? Well, we didn't get that. So we've been
Yeah, right.
behind. We've been behind because of that. So hey, give us something to at least get us in the race. We
Yes,
started behind already. Can we get
man.
something to get us in the race?
Yeah,
Because if the race, if the gun goes off and the race starts, and they tell you, okay, he's gone, he's already 200 meters ahead, and they tell you, no, you can't go yet. No, you can't go yet.
right.
Okay, now you go,
Lay it.
and he's at
Yeah,
That's a
400
very good
meters.
illustration.
We're behind.
yeah.
Give us something to get us at least halfway caught up. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Metaphorically speaking. That's my,
Yes,
that's what I
yeah.
see.
I like Alan. I really like you because you hit it
Oh
there on the
yeah.
points that I agree with because I just feel like it's so much stuff that happened and everybody was promised 40 acres and a mule, and that's already on the books that that's supposed to be given. And it doesn't just have to be money. You can give it in the form of education. You give it in the form of because there's enough land they can give you because people get 500 acre farms out in the, Arizona and all that stuff. So it's enough stuff they can do, but they can give you like discounts on homes or like I said, because a lot of other people come to this country and they get a lot of breaks. You can do that too. Just say no
Right.
interest, no payback student loans, or there's just a lot of stuff we can do. But I just think that I know there's other solutions for those who read the Bible. We got
Right.
to have our patience and look at that too. So I would
Give
put that
us
in.
something to get us at least halfway caught up to where everybody else is at. That's all
Give
we
us
ask.
free. Give us
Yeah,
free.
I miss that. I miss that. Give us free.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this episode up. It's truly been an honor to talk to you, Alan, here today. We learned so many wonderful stories and thoughts and things you share with us. We like talking to insightful people like yourself, but call you an everyday hero, whether you think it or not. We knew you'd be great for the show, so thank you for blessing us with your time. Is there
Thank you.
anything? Yeah,
I appreciate the opportunity more than you would ever know, because heroes don't always come with capes. And I've been watching your stuff, and I'm thinking
oh,
you're doing a great service
thank you.
to the community. Is something I do myself in my own way. I can't say I know enough about what you do to emulate it in any way. I would love to figure it out, but time right now, I don't have time to try to get into the nuts
Okay.
and bolts of what you do. But I thank you from the bottom of my heart for the opportunity. It means a lot. It means a lot. I will not cry, but it means
You
it means
mean
a lot.
you mean a lot to
It means,
us because that being said, how could we do this without guests? So, and you told me you were ordinary. You're not ordinary in the
Nah, he
least.
way past that. He blew past
Not in the
that
least.
20 years ago. Yeah. But
I think I am. I think I am. I think to maintaining my humbleness is great. I try to, like, hey, my mom used to say, don't get too high on that ladder because when you fall, it hurts. So
Yeah.
I try to stay down here.
mhm,
Keep down
Yeah.
there. Don't get too
right.
high on your horse. Don't think you're too special. People are much
Yeah.
worse off than I am. Some
Mhm,
people have no vision. I mean, can we talk about Stevie?
right. Well, he can see though,
He's
but
got
that's
no
Yeah.
that's
sight.
another show. That's another show.
Yeah.
He
Stop it.
can't fool
Stop
me.
it. But thank you
But
very much. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah.
yeah. Is there
Yeah.
anything
Your
else you want to tell
humility
us
too.
before
Oh,
you
go
get out of
ahead.
here? Was there anything else you want to tell us before you get out of here? Anything you want to
Uh,
clarify? Anything we missed?
no, sir. No, sir.
Okay.
I'm at your will.
Okay. Go ahead, Tiki. I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off. Go ahead.
Maybe where can he find his book again? Where I think that's important. Where can people
Yeah,
purchase
and the
your
social
book?
media footprints. Yeah.
Oh, it's Midwest 7 by Alan Smith. It's on Amazon Kindle. Um, I didn't really know what the price of that. They told me the price of that $4.99. I had no idea. As far as I'm concerned, I could have sold the book for 99 cents because I didn't do it to make money. And the reason why it's a a series of 7, because they recommended I not write a full book. They recommended that I split it up into like a series of like booklets. So I really didn't know what I was doing. I'm a pretty good writer, but this part of it, having to do all of that, and my eye was hurting at the time, so I did the best I can with trying to get it online. I wish I could put it into like hard book form, But they said I then have to make it a book to get it to be like a soft cover or hardcover. So I'm gonna have to write all 7 series, put it into book form, and then they'll publish it as a book that I can actually send to people. So I really didn't know what I was doing. I did my best.
Hey, it's
It's
a
a
journey of
start.
1,000 miles again with one step. So you on the road, brother. So keep going. Yeah. All right, Tiki, let's go ahead and get our final thoughts before we get out of here. What you got for
Okay. We should treat everyone like they are the most important person in the world. And it will in turn teach us how to treat others and our families better in the process. The only thing we have complete control over is our attitude. Either we control it or it controls us. There is no compromise, so we must develop the habit of learning to love others and ourselves.
Again, I'd like to say that everybody has a story to tell, but here at the What's Up Award podcast, we just want to know yours. So until next time, good people, remember to follow us on YouTube at What's Up Award TV and What's Up Award, the podcast, wherever you get your streaming content. Thank you again to our esteemed guests. Until next time, peace.